Hello everyone, this is Miss Word, and today is the fifth part of the introduction of the Horde, How the Mongols Changed the World. Today I also want to give a personal and special thank you to the author Mary Farrow, who advocates for the Mongolian history in an unconventional way. And it is very special for me, native to Inner Mongolia, China, to read and to interpret her writings and to share it with everyone. This story begins in the East Asian steppe in the late 12th century. This steppe was divided among the Mongols and other nomadic groups. Only the most prominent of the groups, such as the Tartars, Kharat, and Nayman, claimed collective names and were recorded in the Persian, Chinese, Russian, and other sources available to historians today. Steppe nomads were not all cut from the same cloth, but they did share a number of political, social, spiritual, and economic institutions. The first chapter provides a broad picture of the complex and dynamic relations among these nomadic groups. Chapter 1 also traces Genghis' rise to power in 1206 and the violent process there as he and his followers united the steppe nomads under the banner of the Mongols. Contrary to the prevailing view, the Mongols did not seek the annihilation of secondary citizens. Rather, Genghis Khan and his son's primary goal was the submission of other steppe nomads. The second chapter opens the Genghis portioning of the Mongol Empire among his sons. The middle part of the book examines the Horde as a new kind of empire. Chapter 3 explores how Ulus Jaki organized itself politically and adapted to its natural and human environment. Chapter 4 begins with the struggles for the succession to the office of the Great Khan in the 1260s. The conflict led to a war among Genghis Khan's descendants. Jaki's Ulus broke off from the empire definitely and lost substantial financial resources as a result. Chapter 5 explores the foundations and the effects of the Mongol exchange. The Jakids managed to restore order in their ruling horses after the civil war, and the early 14th century witnessed the pinnacle of the Mongol exchange. In Chapter 6, I consider some of the key effects of the Mongol-led globalization. In the 1360s, the main lineage of Jochid Khans, stemming from Batu, ended. Chapter 7 digs into the extinction of Batuid Bru, which led to the Balkak anarchy. The final chapter covers the aftermath of the anarchy and the later history of the Horde. The solution to the Batuid collapse proved to be yet another innovation within the confines of Mongol-style governance. Nomadic regimes like the Horde had a great ability to reshape themselves. Their empires followed complex trajectories, not linear patterns of the rise and fall. Traditionally, historians writing about the Horde have relied on written sources produced by subjugated sedentary populations. To understand the Horde more accurately and from within, this book draws on a wide variety of sources. To understand the Horde more accurately and from within, this Horde draws on a wider variety of sources. Some come directly from the Mongols. These include imperial orders, diplomatic letters, and coins. Other valuable sources include the Khorisats. In the Old World means steppe epics, recorded in the 16th and 17th centuries, which incorporate histories of the Horde from its zenith. I also look to a range of rich archaeological material excavated throughout Horde territories. There is a persistent myth that a nomadic culture must be dominantly oral. This book belies the myth. The records of relations between the Horde and the Marduk Sultanate are especially revealing. The two powers had a high volume of exchanges. We can identify more than 80 diplomatic missions over the course of 2 centuries. From all these sources, as well as secondary writings by scholars across the years, emerges a nuanced portrait of a Mongol regime very different from the one that endures in the popular imagination. Through it all, 3 themes arise. First, nomads were expert administrators who did not need to rely on their sedentary subjects to forge an empire, because nomads possessed governing institutions of their own. Institutions that persisted in modified forms long after the Mongol Empire and the Horde dissipated. Second, though it is common to think of medieval peoples, and nomads especially, as bound by unchanging tradition, the Horde was a product of continuous evolution. The Horde was indeed steeped in the imperial traditions of the steppe nomads, but it adapted and departed from these traditions when faced with challenges that demanded novel solutions. What we must recognize is that change was not a repudiation of nomadic character. Dynamism is inherent in mobile ways of life and rule. This points to an important conclusion. Mongol imperial successes came not in spite of nomadism, but because of it. The final theme binding the various strands of the book is that the Horde changed the world. Mongol rule transformed, and Mongol rule was itself transformative. In Eastern Europe, it was jacked vassals who unified disparate Slavic peoples into their recognizable modern forms. Bulgarians and Romanians, for instance. Many peoples of Russia and Central Asia, as we know them today, still look to the Horde as their national taproot. The Horde's commercial network was, for centuries, the foundation of economic fortunes in the Mediterranean and the key avenue of transmission between Europe and Asia. The Horde introduced the vitality and ingenuity of nomads into the lives of sedentary peoples, with lasting consequences.